your home without a ton of fuss, as well as which rug is right for your home. We've got Mary Dobson here and Karen Seeley. Hi, guys. We're going to get started right away with one of your DIY projects, actually. It's a project from Mary that is functional and it is pretty. Take a look.
This little room is a perfect choice for a home office, except for one thing. It's bitterly cold in here because it shares this wall with the garage. So what I'm going to do is upholster it and really warm things up. The first thing I'm doing is attaching soft strips of wood around the entire perimeter, a little bit of carpenter's glue, and then just a few screws to hold it in place. Of course, every wall is likely to have an outlet or two on it. So you're going to take the cover off, turn the power off, and when we put the fabric on, we're going to staple around this. But that's sort of the nuts and bolts of it. Now it's time to have some fun. I've got one layer of batting on the wall. You can make it as thick as you want, but the idea is to staple it just periodically. Pull it, but don't stretch it so that it rips, but just bring it so that it's tight around the whole perimeter. You may find that a flat sheet will be big enough for your wall, but there are lots of wide width fabrics out there as well. This one is 118 wide, so I was able to have it be seamless. So what I'm going to do is carefully go across the top from corner to corner. Then I'm going to go and work along the bottom, trim the excess, and then finally go down the sides. The whole idea is to keep it as straight as possible. I don't want to stretch it and make it go on the diagonal. I framed the entire perimeter with grosgrain ribbon and then used decorative tacks to hold it in place. And speaking of decorative, I took more ribbon and made the whole thing into a giant notice board. The whole idea in here was to insulate the wall, but it might as well be practical as well and really do a job for me. So I've got a great little office now. I can run my empire from right here.
You know what? It's very girly. I like it. You can make it more masculine though, but you've got that whole wall now for space.
The minute you put the ribbon on, it
Yes.
becomes functional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some eco solutions that people might not expect in their window treatments. You brought us some samples here.
I have 3, and each of them does something green.
Okay.
So the first one is from Levelor. This is the Energy Shield Accordia blinds. And accordion blinds have always been really great energy conservers because the air gets trapped inside.
Okay.
This is a new sort of development. The idea is that it's a sheer blind, so you can still have solar heat coming in and warming up your space.
Okay.
But it has something called an energy shield. So it's a clear film on the inside. So what it does is it cuts down on cold air coming in or your warm air going out the window. Okay. So it really improves the R factor.
Whatever you can save in terms of energy, heat, all of that stuff is important.
Yeah, yeah.
So
there are so many different aspects to being sustainable and being green.
Right.
One of the concerns for consumers is certainly off-gassing of products in their home. Especially when you move into a new house, you have flooring, you have woodwork, you have everything that you have to think about off-gassing. This is from Sunglow. This is called Pure Clean. I believe I've got that right. The idea is this actually works like a catalytic converter.
Okay, what does that mean, Mary? Break it down.
This is a blind that you put on your window, and it actually will take toxins from the air. So formaldehyde, different gases that are going to be in your space from these products. It actually takes them in and cleans it, and basically just moisture comes out of it and CO2. So they're not harmful.
That's unbelievable.
It's really
so this is cleaning your air.
It's cleaning your air.
Covering your windows.
Yeah, it's quite revolutionary.
Amazing. Okay, now let's talk about these drapes.
Well, this is just a regular drape. But what I wanted to show you is the idea that we can use a really beautiful heavy lining. This is called soft touch. So it's going to improve the insulation factor. It's going to cut any hot sun coming in the summertime, but it's going to cut drafts coming in the winter. But it's sort of an improvement because blackout lining used to be like this, where it was like, woohoo! It didn't have any drape or any sort of
so you can see that it's like, it's tough.
So now the whole idea is that the technology's improved and it's softer.
Okay, so your window coverings aren't the only thing that have a lot of, green solutions. You can also look for rugs that are going to help out in different ways.
And one of the courses I teach at Georgian College is sustainable materials. And we're always looking at where does stuff come from and then where does it go when you're done with it? Because that's all part of being sustainable. So from LT, we have Nature's Carpet. And these are beautiful wool rugs, absolutely 100% natural, so that when you are ready to get rid of them, there aren't issues with, because lots of times things are made of different materials. So unless they can be separated, they can't be recycled.
Right.
And because this is all 100% natural, it can be recycled.
Okay, and these also examples of that?
These are all nature's carpet.
And they're beautiful. They're really nice pieces.
Exactly. One more that we had to look at is called Smart Strand, and this is from Carpet Mill. This is so cool because this is made from corn.
So you can eat it, maybe not.
But it's a whole process.
But the point is that it's biodegradable.
Yeah, they take corn syrup, they reduce it down, they create almost a plastic from it, and then they spin the fibers. The beauty of this is that, again, it's 100% natural, but it doesn't need, if you steam clean it, you don't have to then treat it for steam cleaning. It's inherent to the material that it's naturally stain repellent.
Okay, well, let's test this out. Which one should I do it on? Should I do it, folks? We got some red wine here.
It always happens.
So let's pretend you're having that crazy rockin' party. Okay, they want it done.
Okay,
they want it done.
Go ahead.
I'm afraid. Okay, let's do it.
Go ahead. And you know, my solution is always to do salt.
This would be the end of the party.
Okay, yeah. So here we see, and the whole idea here, careful, this is hot, take your hand away.
Okay.
You actually use warm water.
Oh my gosh, it's gone already.
Just a little more warm water.
That is incredible.
And it's just natural to the material.
Now, this is without doing a ton of blotting yet, and you can see the red wine is almost gone.
I'm doing it sort of under a timeline, but we actually tried it on another, and it worked beautifully.
Beautiful, and a very light material, which a lot of people would avoid because they're afraid of that.
And a lot of people think that when they go green, they have to sacrifice style or other attributes, but you can see they're beautiful products.
Not anymore. Okay, we have an audience question now for Karen, and it is Viz. What would you like to ask?
I have this outdoor space between the back of my house and the deck, and I was wondering whether I should make it more outdoor space or whether a sunroom to give me more indoor space.
Okay, that's an interesting question. That looks like a beautiful space already.
Well, the backyard actually goes up in the back. So Viz's friend suggested that she build a deck kind of away from the house and take advantage of that space, make it more livable. But then we end up with the space between the house and the deck, which is now asphalt. And I'll show you another picture here so you can see. So what do you do with this space? And obviously there's two ways we can go. And I was asking you, Viz, do you need more indoor space? Would you want a little breakfast room or a 3-season room or a 4-season room? Because obviously that's going to change what we decide to do. So the simplest solution would be, put some pavers out here, and I would actually put some pavers along the side of the deck too, because right now there's those big patio stones. But before I did that, I would make sure that I did some plantings. So at this point, some beautiful tall hawthorn trees, because they give you great privacy between you and your neighbor, make it really green back there. There's no grass, so it's great. There's no maintenance, but it is nice to have some green. So I would do all my plantings before I did anything. And then you could even do a roll awning, so an awning that is retractable, because then we're not darkening the room. So then if you need to be out of the weather, or you want to be outside barbecuing, or you want to block some sun in the afternoon, you can put the awning out.
Right.
If Viz wants some more indoor space, and she said, yeah, that would be really nice, then you could actually build an addition. Of course, that means getting a permit. But then I would make sure I put some skylights in my addition, because then you can still get lots of natural light into your kitchen. You're not darkening the rest of the house. And there's some great skylights nowadays. They have these opening ventilating skylights, because it can get really hot when you have the skylights. And they have some that have rain sensors. So if you happen to forget to close your skylight before you go out grocery shopping or head out for the day and it starts raining, they actually close on their own.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And
so what do you think? Is it going to be indoor or outdoor?
Oh, looking like indoor now.
Yeah, she likes that idea.
Well, it really would double your living space. And then the nice thing is I find that sometimes when a deck's a little removed from the main house, it's a bit of you're traveling to get to take your food out to your deck, and you're traveling, to bring food from the deck into the house. So sometimes it's nice to bring the living space closer to the deck. So you're actually doing that. So you might actually find you're using your deck more often too.
Excellent. Thanks, Karen.
No problem.
Okay, let's take a break. Stay with us. More Home Day coming up. To your bungalow can take months and be incredibly annoying for your neighbors, but not if you take a modular approach.
So here we are at this lovely little bungalow, and the family that lives here is just 3, but they're growing. So must their house. They're having their second baby. We're going to blow off the roof, add a second story to the house and to the garage, but we're going to try and maintain some of the character of this cute little bungalow, like the stone below the bay window.
Anders, he's about 6 months old now, and he's sort of the catalyst to having a new house. We needed the space.
Bruce originally bought the house. It was a 2-bedroom bungalow, his bachelor pad. And then I came along, and then you can see our kids came along. So a 2-bedroom bungalow wasn't enough space for us anymore.
This family decided to go with a modular home addition. The great thing about this, the walls and the roof trusses are all built off-site. The crane shows up, puts them into place, and in 3 days, you have a new top story. For finishing options, they could have actually maintained the brick on the lower half of the house and done the stucco and Tudor style above. But because they didn't really love the color of their brick, they're stuccoing the entire house.
We drove around the neighborhood looking for inspiration, and I found about 4 or 5 different houses in the neighborhood that had the cream colored stucco, which suits me perfectly because I'm Swedish, and this is pretty much what houses in Sweden look like. I work from home quite a lot, and I've been sitting at the dining room table on one of Bruce's grandmother's old dining chairs for the last 6.5 years, and that is my home office. And there's a couple of really special things about that room. One, it's been dubbed the white room. Everything in the room is going to be white. I've told the contractor I want a retina scan to get into the room, so nobody but I can go in there. But one of the amazing features is we actually built the master ensuite at the back half of the garage, and the garage was lower than the rest of the house, so we raised that up. So that fantastic room actually has 12-foot soaring ceilings. So even though it's quite a small room, it feels really safe.
Okay, so here's what I want to know. If you decide to do that modular approach, is it going to cost you more than building on site?
No, not necessarily.
No.